Hey guys, Katie Taylor here with scrappinkaty.com, where I show you how to preserve your family's memories through the art of scrapbooking. So during the month of October, I will be participating in Christy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches, where we create a layout each day of October using a sketch. For day 2, here is a look at that sketch. This is from Crafty Meggie. Right off the bat, I swear these sketches are going to turn me into a flower person, but right off the bat, I'm just loving these floral pieces right here. And then, of course, the kind of offset crooked frame. And then the 2 photos, and then just these little pennants with these dots are very intriguing to me. So those are the elements that I am going to try to recreate in my sketch. And I am using the brand new paper collection from Close to My Heart called Cherish. Here's a look at those patterns. Gorgeous, gorgeous florals. But there are even, some that are not so florally. And then, of course, that sticker sheet. Here's the front side, back side. So we've got double-sided. And then I think for those floral pieces, I'm going to use a combination of stenciling and the Stampin' Thin Cuts. So the way this works is you have layered stencils, and then you have a stamp set, and then a metal die, just to kind of add a whole lot of dimension. So we'll see how that pans out. So I'm going to clear my desk, and then we can get started. So I am actually going to build this onto a piece of pattern paper from the Mix-In collection. It's real subtle, but it's definitely got a watercolor look to it. And then I am using the Cherish stamp set that actually comes with a metal die, a thin cut, and a stencil. I am going to just ink these die cut pieces up with toffee ink. My hope originally was to kind of do a no line coloring on those, either that or watercolor, to kind of make it just go with the rest of the stenciling. So I put those pieces in the corners and then just marking off where I want the stencil. The stencil will go on the base page. Now how the stencil works is you want to line up the stencils to make sure they all fit together. And then I take a permanent marker and then mark the top right corner of each one. And that will help me line them up when I actually start doing my stenciling. So again, I'm just looking at those pencil marks that I made, and that will tell me where to put the base page or the biggest part of the stencil. I'm using mulberry ink and my ink blending tool, and then noticing where my KT is, which is in that bottom right or that top right corner. I'm going to finish off this base stencil, and then I'm going to take the next layer, which is the leaves. Now there are a couple of shapes of leaves, and I want to mimic the sketch. I usually don't do that. I usually only use the sketch for the sketch, but I loved how the leaves actually had a green and a brown tone. So I am using Seabrook and Toffee. I'm basically stenciling Seabrook or the green next to the floral piece, and then using the toffee or the brown toward the end of the leaves. So I'm just going to move that around those pieces of that base floral stencil. And then I am going to just kind of basically use the stencil now freehand, which means I just kind of filled in all the blank spots. The third layer of the stencil actually might be my favorite. It has these cute little dots that I'm going to be inking up in sapphire. And then it has the center of the flowers, which I'm going to be inking up in mocha. So I just have 2 blending brushes. I'm just going to move that stencil around, trying to be careful not to mix them. And of course, again, my favorite part of the stencil are these little dots. I definitely will be using those again and again and again, and then also filling in some holes. So I'm done with my stenciling. I'm going to clean that up and then remind you that if you are liking this video so far, go ahead and hit that like button and leave a comment. It helps YouTube show you more videos of the same, and it helps me out in the process. If you aren't already a subscriber, hit the subscribe button and sign up for notifications. Remember, I will be trying to play along all month of October with these 30 days of sketches. So I'm going to bring out several stamp sets. Even though I love those stencils, I think they're just a little plain. So I end up using the floral sentiments. There are a couple of pieces that I think will be perfect for the center of those mulberry stenciled flowers. So I'm just going to stamp. It's basically going to look like a tone on tone for that larger flower, and then I'm pulling in the background element stamp set. I am using toffee ink to just kind of do this little splatter or stone texture. And then, like the sketch had those larger dots that I pointed out that I liked, the same stamp set, the background elements, has a larger kind of paint splatter with larger dots. So again, I'm just going to be filling in some of those blank spaces in the corner. So for my two photos, I have already cut them down slightly smaller than 3 by 4, matted them on white daisy cardstock, and then matted them on the Seabrook cardstock. And then I wanted a larger photo mat using the mist pattern paper from the Cherish. I inked up around those photos, and then I'm just going to cut down this mist pattern paper. I decided to cut it down just a little bit more, and then keeping in line with kind of the grunge stencil look, I'm going to be adding toffee ink around the edge with my mini blending tool. It's just a great way to add color and dimension. I am going to pull back in that base layout, and then we can start on those gold accent frame pieces. I will be using my T ruler, just the longest portion because I can see through it. And then I am using one of the metallic markers in a gold color. Again, I'm just looking at the sketch and trying to mimic those lines. You could also get the same look by using your Cricut and maybe some frames to cut. So I am just going to mark those, again, trying to keep in line with the sketch. I get a little confused here because I'm looking kind of upside down. But in the end, I love the look. And even though that's a gold metallic marker, it doesn't really have a lot of shine. So it's kind of flat, which I think adds really nicely to the stencils. I am adding just a few doodle dots where those lines meet up. So now it is time to bring that photo back out and start adding stickers, which is going to be another layer or dimension for this layout. Now these stickers do come from the Cherish collection. I will be removing the sticky back on most of them using my anti-static pouch and then adding 3D foam tape. There were some elements around the photo. I tried to bring out some more pattern paper, but it's just not going to work. So I'm going to add 3D foam tape again to these stickers. Because I took the sticky off using my anti-static pouch, that 3D foam tape just sticks on there and it allows for some dimension. This one definitely brings a yellow element into the layout that I didn't have before. So I'm going to bring out another yellow sticker and add at the top left. And I just love the foliage that is on the sticker sheet for the Cherish. So I am going to be adding a lot of that. So the good thing about these leaves is I'm going to leave the sticker part on them toward the end, tuck those ends underneath those floral pieces that I've used 3D foam tape to attach. And then I'm going to use a combination of 3D foam tape and then our little bitty 3D foam circles to add some dimension underneath the end of the leaves. This is one of my favorite things to do, and it's something that is so simple just to add dimension to your floral pieces. So here are those circles. They come in little bitty 1/4 inch and then 1/2 inch, or they might be 3/8 inch. So I am just going to finish up the ends of these leaves and then go ahead and get all those floral pieces that I added 3D foam tape to glued down. Again, don't forget that I will have a playlist for the 30 days of sketches. And while we are calling it 30 days, there is actually 31 sketches this month. So you want to make sure that you click on that playlist and then check back often so you can see everything that we've done. So now it's time to adhere down that photo mat, and I did decide to kind of tuck it in under that yellow flower. And then the Cherish collection actually comes with an embellishment pack that has these chipboard pieces. So you actually get 3 colors. This is the faux wood grain. And then you have a mist that has some floral pieces and some hearts. And then you have a white piece as well. While I'm only looking for hearts and then some title options, sometimes it's easier just to punch them all out. So I'm going to bring that layout back into play and then try to figure out if I want memories as my title or there is a moment title that's out of that mist color. I do end up going with memories, and I'm just going to add some liquid adhesive to that title and get that adhered down. I did not add adhesive to the bottom portion of that S since it's on that photo mat that has 3D foam tape to it. And I'm also going to be looking for some of those hearts to add here and there. So right now I am pulling out the wood grain hearts. I do take a look at some of the other options, but so far I'm only going to use the wood grain. I love this little swag of hearts. So I put it a couple of places and then I end up wanting it up at that top right corner. So I'm just going to add liquid adhesive. And then once I have that glued down, I can trim off the excess and I can save that for later use. So down here, remember I said that something was on that photo mat in the sketch? I think there's just too much of that pattern paper around those photos. So I've decided to mimic that little swag of hearts down by the photos. And then I'm also going to pull out another little swag of hearts that is in that faux wood. Kind of tuck it under that far left heart and then tuck it under my photos. And I end up really liking this little element. Again, it's often those little last minute elements that really just bring the layout to life. Now in that top right corner or left corner, keep getting those mixed up, definitely need some more yellow. So I pulled out another sticker, going to add some little 3D foam circles underneath there and get that adhered down. And then we can take a close-up look of this layout. So off camera, I did add some gold glitter gems. You can see those sparkling. And then again, I just love the look of the stenciling and those background element stamps. So here is a look at the sketch. Again, I kept pretty true to the sketch with those floral elements in the corner. And then those background little splotches. And then, of course, hand drawing those gold pieces with my metallic marker. And then the title, and then I will put journaling right there to the left. Here are some close-ups, and remember that I'll leave everything that I used linked down below. And if you are a Close to My Heart maker or a VIP of a Close to My Heart maker where ordering from my links just doesn't make sense, I now have Super Thanks, where you can add a monetary gift to let me know you were inspired. Thanks so much for stopping by and watching. Don't forget to click on the playlist for the rest of the 30 days of sketches and see what everyone else is creating. Have a wonderful weekend.